Good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning, Roman. Good morning, Kathy. How
We
you
got Roman.
doing?
We got Roman with us here today. He's been gone for a week or so because of his new place. Give us a quick update on where you're at. You don't have to show us everything, but how soon before you're open? How soon before you're open?
You have a roof?
Yes, I have a roof over my head and I have a chihuahua in
Okay.
my lap, so life is good.
And you have a floor?
Yes, we have floors. So
Great. You have
there's
walls also?
there's ties in the bathroom. There's the bedroom is set. Barbara's office is set. My office is still pending. Um, we have the money together to pay for the shed, but we haven't had bought the shed yet, and then we have to do the work on the shed to make it basically a livable place. Then we have kitchen almost done. We had a lot of property work done. We made it to prune and help dead trees to kind of rejuvenate themselves by taking rid about 60 cubic yards of trash on trees, off the trees, like parasites and leaves and branches that are broken over the years. So it looks better now, organized. So that's a big update. Um, yeah. Otherwise, you don't want to hear the other details. This is a happy show.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, you know what, folks, for today, we're going to be talking about our weekly news updates, and we got a little bit of a different format. I don't know if you remember when we first started doing the show, Gaetan and I said, well, we're going to pick one topic and then we're going to do it for different parts of the week. Well, now today we're actually going to put three segments together into one. So we're going to have the canine news, we're going to have the good dog day, and then we're going to have dog thoughts. So those are the areas that we're going to cover. So, oh, we got somebody here. Who's here? Oh, good morning, Muka. Nice to see you again too.
Good morning.
Okay, so what we're going to do is the canine news for. And the canine news is, I'm going to have to share the screen now. This is news about, when I go to here, let's see. This is news.
Kathy is producing the show.
Yeah.
And we have quadruple our staff since she, do the new format.
Right. So Canine News is about what we're doing in the, what has happened during this past week so that you can be filled in on news. This is kind of an interesting thing. I never thought about it, but dogs need blood. So here are some veterinarians that are taking, just like you have human blood banks, you have dog blood banks. So let me know if you can hear this or not. Can you hear it? No. Okay. Let me do this again. The reason I say that is because StreamYard has come up with something new now. Another new thing. Let me try it with this again now. Can you hear this?
Blood. We have patients that have experienced trauma that require blood products. We have patients undergoing surgical procedures. We have patients with blood disorders.
Sarah Muslin is the director of the blood bank at NC State's vet school. She's well aware of the national shortage of pet blood during the pandemic because there have been issues locally too.
We have donors that are up to donate, yet the families aren't able to come in related to COVID.
Dr. Muslin says there have also been shortages in supplies needed to both collect and distribute blood during the pandemic. Fortunately, the vet school has still been able to maintain its plasma supply. Thanks to dogs like Reagan and Aria.
What do you think, huh?
Aria's owners say her donations over the past 5 years make her a dog hero.
It's nice to know we're helping other dogs in ways that you don't typically think of when it comes to your pets.
Kim and John McHugh even bring area in for emergency donations. John recalled doing that at midnight one Saturday.
They drew the blood, and they knew they were going to take the blood right to this dog who was having a
Right now, the vet school has about 45 canine donors, but ideally would like to have 50. Owners of large dogs with good temperament can apply online at the vet school's website.
We do currently have a list of potential donors that we're working through, but we always are looking for excellent donors.
Dr. Muslin says the supply of feline plasma is also adequate right now, so the blood bank is in pretty good shape. And that blood will help family pets having planned or emergency procedures survive surgery or things like blood disorders.
So now when we look at that, Roman, I didn't realize is that there must be an awful lot of dogs that need help.
Well, we have emergency procedures. We have bloat a lot. We have cancer a lot. We have emergency surgeries, knee surgeries. All these things need a lot of blood.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry, my mind was off somewhere else. I'm trying to produce the show at the same time here. Charlie's trying to help me. Hey. Yeah, right, and take care of the dogs. Yeah. So here now the next one that I thought was kind of interesting that that we can show is a new app for dogs, for pets. It's a taxi app. It's called the Pet Cloud Pet Taxi, and right now they said that they're in like 20 different states, and it's kind of a cool thing. So if you are interested, get the Pet app. Now let me see here. And now this next one is. There's a policeman who is recognized for his animal rescue. It's quite often that we don't recognize that police do something to help someone. For some reason these days, we've been talking about the things that police do wrong. Well, this is a particular guy in Baton Rouge, Officer Colin Rose, at the Rose Memorial Foundation. He's it's Police Lieutenant Doug Atkins. He's the third recipient of the Colin Rose Memorial Canine Safety Award. So he was awarded $2,500 and he ended up donating that. So that's a wonderful thing too.
Double hero.
What?
Double hero.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So any comments on any of that? No. Okay. Okay, we got Muka says, here in Argentina, we have the problem of finding blood. Muka is a vet, and Muka is going to be coming to the United States to work with Barkhouse. So we're real excited about that. And he's saying that here it is a big problem. Yeah, I bet it is. Okay, and here Ellen says, hi, Ellen, we haven't seen you in a long time. She says, lots of pet taxis in New York City. Really, it's not a new thing, huh?
I've done dog taxis, helping people with disabilities. I had a van so I can take dogs to the vet, big dogs who cannot jump on a truck or cannot jump in a regular car. So that's part of a service that I have locally.
Okay, now here is something that I think is kind of interesting. People that are seniors that have gotten COVID, their dogs are left at home alone. And what do you do with the dogs? So PetSmart Charities has come together, and they're not only providing a grant, but they're providing food for not only the dogs, but for the people that have had COVID or they're at home with COVID because they can't go out. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So kudos to PetSmart Charities. Thank you very much. And then also there's a group here out of Tucson that's called Local Nonprofits Are Making It Easier to Respect and Support Elderly Pets, particularly senior dogs who have been displaced during the COVID-19 pandemic. What a lot of people are doing, folks, is they're relinquishing their dogs, especially older dogs, because they're concerned about the cost of care. Wow, now that's a big problem, isn't it?
Well, we have about, I'm not sure about, I think we have 4.3 million houses that are in eviction. People are in eviction right now. So they need to find a place to live with their dogs. And some of them have to leave the dogs behind or to the shelters because some of those do not accept the breeds they have.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
always easy to find a house if you have a breed that is not in the insurance.
exactly. Exactly.
When I found interesting, quote unquote, um, some housing like a condo association or um, apartment management, they will say you cannot have a dog heavier than 10 pound, and that's very limiting. It's limiting a number, you know. Anyway, so limiting the size of the dog. I understand the reason why, but well, I understand what they are saying as the reason to do that, but it's becoming a very interesting situation. I have a case where the guy has a puppy, which is about small puppy, 7 or 8 pound, and the dog keep growing and growing, and then when he passes the 10 pound, and he has to get rid of the dog because of the management and the decision of the administration. Now you cannot have a dog bigger than 10 pound.
Right. Well, I think that what's happening now a lot because of the pandemic, we're seeing all those people that were fostering
Hmm.
before. They're now thinking, well, I'm going to go back to work, or this dog has not been adopted. So now I've got to
Hmm.
bring them back to the shelter. The shelter doesn't want to take them back. So the
Yeah.
shelter is trying to find a rescue for them to go to. And it's like a vicious circle. And what we're
Yeah.
finding, folks, which is really, really sad, is a lot of the shelters are making the decision, even if they're no kill, there is no such thing as a no kill because they do kill in certain circumstances, but many of them are looking at the recourse, which is they're going to have to euthanize. So there are so many things that we can do, especially from an awareness standpoint,
Hmm.
that I think is really, really, really important. Ellen says here, reach out to rescues and fosters rather than relinquish your dog permanently. You're absolutely right, Ellen. And that's what we're just saying right now. There's not enough people that are willing to foster. We have 13 dogs here in Las Cruces with the shelter that have been in the shelter for almost a year. And Roman, maybe you can help me understand this. The shelter here has 13 dogs. Some of them have been there since March of last year. They take a notice and they say these 13 dogs have to be adopted or they have to go to a shelter, I mean to a rescue or to a foster within the next week, and then kind of leaves you like or else. Well, what does that mean? Or else? Then they're going to be euthanized. But here's the thing, all 13 of these have heartworm. The question is, when did they get heartworm? They've been there for, some of them have been there for almost a year. Why weren't they treated? And why didn't you do something about this earlier? So
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, let's clarify a little bit. Having heartworm and having heartworm disease are two different things. So having a dog being heartworm positive doesn't mean the dog has an issue. It just is positive. Now, the extent of the heartworm, and I'm not a veterinarian, but it's just kind of like, if you read up on that, these are two different situations. So the dog can have a larva in his system and goes positive because his body system defends the larva. Doesn't mean the dog is infested by it. Now,
Okay.
they have to go through a procedure and do tests and actually measure or visual measure how the heart is, infested by the heartworm. And then you have the treatment. The treatment costs in average about $1,500 on treatment, and the dog cannot be active. He has to be kind of like limited in his movements, which means there are all these restrictions. The dogs are being jumping at the kennel. Dogs get agitated. You cannot clean the kennels if the dog is running around in his backyard. So how do you clean this up? It's a problem. At the other hand, the shelter wants to get rid of those heartworm dogs, somebody has to pay the bill.
Right.
So how is this going? Because at least the dog has to be vetted, to be checked how infested it is. So they either go, if they're going healthy, they do a treatment to support the dog's immune system so he can handle the larva on his own, or you go toxic and kill the larva and then deal with the rest of it.
Okay, so the question I have is then, this is not something that gets that you don't find out about if a year after they're already in the shelter. I don't get that. Where does that come from, and how did they get it in the shelter, or did they already have it?
If you have one dog with heartworm disease and you have a couple of mosquitoes flying around in the shelter, all the dogs get affected by those bites.
Okay.
So it's basically affecting everybody who's get bit by that in mosquito.
Okay. So, but all right. Well, I still have a difficult time understanding why it's taken so long.
Well, that's a question they have to answer. I don't
Yeah.
know why it takes them so long.
I don't know either.
They're being taken care of, like in the very beginning, so the dog doesn't go to this extreme illness.
Right.
May I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Sure.
What is a dog worm? Is that a bacteria?
Heartworm?
Heartworm, yeah. Is that a bacteria? Is that a virus? Is that
It's a parasite. It's a blood
A parasite?
that feeds in the channel around the heart from the fresh, oxygenated, nutrient-rich blood. And so it's right at the pump, feeding from it. And so they multiply themselves, and they can get very long. They basically go through the whole arteries as long as it can get. And what they do now, they're restricting the nutrients going into the dog body, so the parasites are feeding from them. And they have a circle that I don't exactly know their circle, but there's a lot of different stages of it. So you can handle a stage differently than you have an adult parasite. So the body can deal with the baby of those those heartworms, but the body cannot handle if this is infested, because it doesn't have the health conditions that he needs from the bloodstream of the nutrients to keep himself up and running. So the more infected he gets, the less immune response he has, the more the larva will take over. So it's kind of a vicious circle. A healthy dog who eats healthy and is a healthy immune system can handle it on himself. But in a shelter with stress, the dog is not healthy, and the dog, just the stress alone, compromises the immune system.
Okay, so you're saying that the prognosis is not real good for dogs in a shelter with heartworm.
No.
Okay.
Unless they get treated.
Right. Yeah.
Is the just another question? Is the parasite, if it's feed on the nutriment of the blood coming from the heart, is the counterpart of that the parasite will release some toxic product?
It just takes over the nutrient intake, and so the dog gets thinner and thinner and thinner. If you see those dogs out of bones,
right,
bones and skin, they usually have heartworm.
Okay.
But that comes with a cost, because if you don't have enough nutrients for your organs starts failing.
Yep. Okay.
And that damage is irreversible.
Okay, so now it's time for a Good Dog Day segment of the show, and this is about those working dogs, the service dogs, the emotional support dogs, those dogs that have made something different. So here's our Okay, so let's go into, let me share the screen here. Here, we've got Delotti. Now, this is an investment firm, which I thought was kind of interesting. They're sponsoring America's Vet Dogs Future Service Dogs for a military veteran or first responder, which means that this is like a financial company.
It's an accounting company. It's one of the third three in the world with KPMG and Accenture. So Deloitte is one of the top three accounting money management company. They are not an investment group, but they will be your accountant. They would be your go-to to manage your money for your enterprise, for your business, for companies, nationally, locally, internationally.
Okay, I put the link in there so that you guys can read about this. I thought this was rather interesting that
Mhm.
they would sponsor something like that. You normally don't see that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next one is here. This is service dog trainers with Occupause. They demonstrate intense demand of certified dogs. So let's watch this here a second. Oh, wait, we're not going to be able to see it. Never mind. Never mind. We're not going to watch it. Uh,
We don't
sorry.
want to be arrested and
Yeah,
jail.
right. Yeah.
I want to add something, by the way, just
Yeah.
a quick insert. But there are many companies out there who will train your dog for service dog. They tell you, go pick up a dog, we're going to make it a service dog. Don't fall into those traps. If the
Okay.
company or the institution is not established and it doesn't have a record and they're not acknowledged and they're not being vetted, I would not buy into it. I know many people just go wants to save money and go and buy those dogs. Those dogs are basically not support dogs.
Mhm.
Okay, some of them are, but most of them are not. Just people want to make money out of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the experience is for those who are specialized in training service dog. It's probably one dog out of 20 who will go through the program and qualify to become like a service dog.
Well, unfortunately, there is no standard for qualification.
Yeah.
Okay, there is no standard out there. So everybody can say my dog is qualified because I qualified myself. Correct.
Right.
Okay, so I pick up a dog from a shelter who's cute and nice and adoptable. And so we
Yeah.
take that dog, make him a service dog,
Good
basically
luck.
with unreliable training methods, and that dog will fail in the future.
Mhm.
Likely, most likely.
Very likely, yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so this is interesting and great news too. We talked about before that there's different groups that have been training dogs to detect the coronavirus. Now, a German clinic, they have a 94% accuracy that they've got. I'm going to put this in here because I think it would be worthwhile for all of you guys to read. I'm putting all of
Mhm.
these in the description below so that you'll have it. I think that it's a marvelous thing to be able to
It
train
is.
dogs, don't you? Yeah, okay, let's
It,
talk
it,
about it.
it is absolutely amazing.
Well,
Dog can
a dog
detect cancer, can detect illness, can detect a lot of condition, and be able to detect coronavirus. It's one more skill to develop. It's take a long time to train a dog to be able to do that, but apparently in Germany they were successful. So coronavirus appeared like last year, and now about like 9 or 10 months later, they say, yeah, now we can detect a dog can detect the coronavirus. That's the amount of time it will take to find the molecule specific or the smell specific to coronavirus and train the dog to detect it.
Right,
It's
right.
not like you go to the pet shop and the next day your dog is trained. It doesn't work like that.
Well, the dog doesn't really smell the coronavirus. It smells the body response to the virus.
Right.
So we
Right.
have to find what is the common denominator on all those people who have coronavirus. How
Right.
does the body respond? How does it smell to have a coronavirus?
Right.
And then the dog is being exposed to those scent, and then the dog is being rewarded by identifying its scent. So from a training perspective, it's basically simple, kind of like find your dog treat kind of situation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the tricky part is the accuracy of how detailed the dog can smell it. So considering the dog has several particles per billion ability to smell things, while my
Mhm.
alarm system detecting smoke is about a couple of particles per million, that's a big thing. So dogs have very, very high sensitivity of smell, and it can be sidetracked. So the dog can be contaminated with the scent by us touching the sample. So the way you proceed to the sample testing and the dog training has to be as clean as possible, even like medical clean, because you're contaminating the sample by touching the bottle of the sample. Even if you don't have coronavirus, you're going to transmit to the other samples too. So that's why you have a little bit of an off with this 90%.
Right, right. Okay, so now the next segment of the show is dog thoughts, and I'll tell you about that in a second here. I think you're going to like this. Okay, this is an interview, and we're going to try and do this every week. I've gone ahead and I've interviewed a dog named Marshall, and Marshall wanted to give me his impression of the man of the house, his human. So it's totally off the cuff. It was not rehearsed, and I think you're going to enjoy this with him.
Hi everyone, Mitchell here. Just wanted to tell you I just got back from taking my human for a walk. Boy, was that like pulling teeth. He's got an attitude, a real attitude, and I had to break him of it. You know, it's hard to train humans these days. All of you dogs out there know just exactly what I'm talking about. Well, anyway, here's my reason why. I got to take him out at least 3 or 4 times a day, and I got to take him for a long walk because he's gotten really fat. Oh, God, he's so fat that when he walks, he like waddles. So I try and pick up the speed a little bit so that maybe he'll start to run. No luck. I only got in the walk mode right now. But he's at least doing a little bit better. I can get him to cross the street without having to look down because really he can't see his feet anyway because his big stomach is in the way. But if he watches me, then he can pretty much gather where he's going to be going to. But here I am. This is a Saturday. And I thought I was not going to have to work today, but you know, a dog's work is never done. We always got something to do. We got to watch out for these humans. They make so many mistakes. It's kind of uncanny. I really think it is. But I listen to them. I go along with it. I let them have their way because after all, I'm not a troublemaker. I'm a bridge builder. I don't want to break bridges or burn them down. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to have a real happy and comfortable life. And the only way that I can do that is to have my humans be happy too. Now, to do that, they got to be healthy. Because here's the deal. If they give me the food that they eat and it's crap food, then guess what? That's what goes into me. So garbage in, garbage out. And then they wonder why I would poop in the house and it'd be all runny because I would have diarrhea. And that'd be a real problem too. So I'm trying to help the whole family here, so that you got to give me a break. You got to help me here. So folks, let me know what you think about my methods because maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I got to get this fat guy off the couch. Okay? All right, I'll see you guys next time around, and thanks for letting me be around you. Bye.
I love it.
Do you?
I love it. I always said if your dog is overweight, it's because you don't do enough exercise.
Yeah, right.
Well, this is the perfect This is the perfect answer to that. This is a perfect dog for you.
Yeah.
If you're overweight like myself, you should have a dog. I should have a dog now.
Yeah.
To force me to go out like 4 times a day, take a walk, instead of sitting at the computer and pretending to work.
Right, right. So, and here's Roman going, yeah, me too, me too. Well, that's it. That's it for today's show. It was a little choppy because it's the first time we're doing these different segments, but I think we're on to something having different segments. What do you guys think?
Speak for myself. I'm
Yeah.
like perfectly in line with that.
Okay. What do you think, Roman? You like having the different segments?
Yeah, it's kind of like your go-to for morning for breakfast. So you come in,
Right.
and by the end of the day, you're the smartest person in town.
Yeah, right. Okay, so so we'll start out every show, I think, with the update on the news, and then something to do with service dogs and working dogs, and then dog thoughts. We got to have dog thoughts. I love doing the interview with Marshall. He
Yeah.
was a real hoot.
Yeah, Marshall is outstanding.
Yeah, right. So, okay, everyone, that's it for today's show, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay,
See you
bye.
soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.